With recent news that Universal Japan is closing The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, I think it's time to talk about the future of Marvel Superhero Island. For starters, let's talk about the Marvel deal. Now, of course, Marvel Superhero Island opened in 1999 alongside Islands of Adventure, long before Disney bought Marvel. And when Disney did buy Marvel, Bob Iger said that they're going to continue all the contracts Marvel currently has, even if it's with their competitors. So we should be thankful that Spider-Verse and Logan were still made thanks to Bob Iger. So anyway, let's talk about the possible fate of Marvel's Superhero Island, which is what theme park fans have been talking about for years now. So the two competitors that I think could replace Marvel's Superhero Island are Pokemon and DC. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give my final verdict on what the fate of this land is going to be. Now let's start off with Pokemon. Now, first off, Pokemon is the number one ride to be rumored to replace Spider-Man in Japan. Now, the rumor states that they're going to use augmented reality and they're going to use the same ride system as Spider-Man, which makes a ton of sense if you're going to replace Superhero Island with Pokemon. However, this is where things get a little problematic here. I do not see them using the Spider-Man ride system for Pokemon, mostly because, the cart is so spacious, it's so closed in, that it basically lacks interactivity. And another thing I want to mention is if you're going to do a Pokemon ride with AR, you're going to have to do something similar to Mario Kart. And another thing I want to mention is that look at Marvel Superhero Island on screen right now. It can be rethemable to anything, but if they're going to do a Pokemon retheme with Marvel Superhero Island, they're going to do something different. And, they're not going to just take down all of the cutouts of all the characters. They're going to make it open world, and they're going to make it just like Nintendo World. That is what I think they're going to do. So, what I think they're going to do if they are going to retheme Marvel Superhero Island to Pokemon is that they're going to take everything down and basically make an entirely new land. However, that's going to be problematic if you want to keep the rides because, let's be honest, Doctor Doom's Fearfall and Stormforce pretty much add to the diversity of Islands of Adventure. You could make the argument that they could just take down everything and keep all the rides there, like Spider-Man, the Hulk, and stuff like that, and Doctor Doom's Fearfall and Stormforce. However, that's problematic because Doctor Doom's Fearfall is basically so landlocked, and it is connected to two buildings, being the Fantastic Four Cafe and Kingpin's Arcade. So basically, you can't really, take all those buildings down and keep Doctor Doom's Fearfall. And I also do not think the Pokemon Company... Now, keep in mind, the Pokemon Company is a separate company from Nintendo, and, Nintendo just owns the distribution rights to all their games, which I can't blame you if you think that Pokemon is owned by Nintendo, but overall, which I'm surprised they're not to this day, What I think the Pokemon Company wants is something new. They're probably going to do some play areas. They might just do, a show, an augmented reality show, of Pokemon battles, like you see in the games and the anime, the tournaments at the end of each season and at the end of each series. And I'm pretty sure, when it comes to rides like the Hulk, I don't even think the Pokemon Company would want a intense roller coaster based off their IP. I mean, it kind of shows because the Donkey Kong coaster is apparently not going to be thrilling. So I think they might want a kiddie coaster to be for Pokemon. You can make it the Charizard roller coaster, the Dragonite roller coaster, and stuff like that. So yeah, I think they're going to go with something new, not just retheme an entire land. At least that's just my theory. So yeah, regardless if Pokemon replaces Spider-Man in Japan, which I think that could be possible because they also are going to close Terminator 2, which is kind of sad because if you could tell by the channel logo on my main channel, you would know that I'm a huge fan of that franchise. Terminator 2 is my favorite movie of all time. And the closest I'm ever going to get to experiencing that is hearing a little kid cry in the background in one of the POVs. So yeah, I hope they release it on DVD. Who knows, maybe they did, but I don't know. Next up is DC Comics. So DC Comics I think would be a better option to replace Marvel. Sure, it's a little bit on the nose to tear down everything from Marvel and just retheme it all to their competitor, but let's be honest here. So there's this ongoing debate about superhero fatigue, which I think superhero fatigue is a thing, but I think on the other side it's bad movie fatigue, because the reason why Shazam! Fury of the Gods bombed was because Warner Brothers didn't advertise that film well. And a lot of Marvel movies in the MCU are making decent amounts of money. I mean, they're not breaking even, but they're close. Like, they're getting second weekend drops a lot. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 recently got a second weekend rise. Sorry. Recently got a second weekend rise because it's a good movie. It's like the first good movie in the MCU since No Way Home. I mean, not that all the recent films are terrible. They're fine, if not mediocre at best. But overall, yeah. And like when it comes to DC, like James Gunn is making a new DC cinematic universe. And with the rising box office of Guardians 3, I definitely think that, James Gunn could possibly bring hope back to the brand. Like, let's be honest, you could retheme Spider-Man to Batman. You could retheme the Hulk to Superman. Hell, if you don't want to do Superman, which is stupid, by the way, you could do Green Lantern if you want to keep the green coaster track. I mean, that'd be on the nose. And, like, you could replace the Hulk statue with, like, a Hal Jordan statue or something like that. And, like, you don't even need to do their popular characters for the other rethemes. You could do, Booster Gold to retheme Stormforce, or you could do the Authority to retheme Doctor Doom's Fearfall. I highly doubt they would ever do that, but it'll make a lot of sense, right? And another argument I want to make here, this is my own argument, is that if you retheme Marvel Superhero Island to Pokemon, then Island's Adventure would lose its diversity. Let me explain why. You have Marvel Superhero Island, superheroes, Jurassic Park, dinosaurs, Wizarding World of Harry Potter, fantasy, Lost Continent, I don't think you would lose anything, but it's based off mythology. And you got Toon Lagoon and Zeus Landing, both themed around, like, wacky cartoon characters. And if you bring in another land that's replacing one of their other lands, basically, Islands Adventure is going to lose its diversity. Like, I think it'll be much smarter to retheme it to DC. And I also forgot to bring this up, but there's a rumor that the Six Flags DC contract expires in 2026, which, I mean, I don't know if they could, renew that contract or something. There's also a rumor that Warner Brothers could sell to Comcast, which is also Universal's parent company, so Universal and Warner Brothers could become one, which I think that's a good deal, You don't even need to theme DC to the comics. You could theme it to the recent films. Like, that would be much more relevant and make much sense, because the ongoing argument is that the comics aren't really relevant anymore, which, as a comic book reader myself, that's the sad reality that came with the movies. Oh, the comics died in favor of all the movies, stuff like that. So yeah, you don't even need to retheme it to another comic book or superhero-based property with Marvel Superhero Island. You could do Transformers. I highly doubt they would do Transformers because they already got it in Universal Studios Florida, and I highly doubt that they would waste a lot of money just relocating another ride to the sister park next door. And what else? There's you could retheme it to like an action themed land. Like, you could bring like a Terminator ride. You could bring Dune. You could make it Sci-Fi City, like in Universal Studios Singapore. Like, you could, like, who knows? Maybe you could bring in Transformers there. You could basically make a Dune ride there or something like that. That'd be cool. So now let's get to the final verdict. So, do I think Universal is going to replace Marvel Superhero Island? Short answer, not anytime soon. That doesn't mean they're going to stay forever. I do think they might close in the future, depending on circumstances. But Universal is clearly not done with Marvel. In the past few months, they have been making tons of refurbishments and a bunch of repaints and redos on the cutouts in the land. And by the time I'm recording this, they just added something new to the comic shop. Like, look at these curtains. They also brought back the J. Jonah Jameson statue, which was missing for years. I don't know how long it was gone, but it just came back. They also opened a brand new food stand, which replaced the hot dog stand. This is not the previous hot dog stand. This is a brand new food stand where they serve different types of food. So yeah, long story short, because of all these changes, Marvel is not going anywhere anytime soon. And this is at least my theory, since that they're removing Spider-Man in Japan, and there's also rumors that they're going to remove Simpsons sooner rather than later, in Hollywood at least. And Simpsons was also removed from the land section on the Universal Studios Hollywood website. There hasn't been any rumors on Orlando recently, So my theory is they're getting rid of all the Disney-owned IPs in favor to keep Marvel Superhero Island. At least that's just my theory. So, let me know what you thought of this video. Do you agree with my takes? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.